Who's the best wing back in hurling right now? It's a tough one to really nail one down, but like let's nail the Tipperary colours to the mast here straight away. Brendan Maher and Paddy Maher can't be too far away from it. Like surely they can't. Irrespective of the
No,
fact that I'm from Tip here and I'm obviously going to do parish pump politics.
you're never afraid to nail your colours to the match. In fairness, we're fairly spoiled for choice now with regards to Tipperary. In all fairness, you know, two of the best wing backs around now, but two of the best wing backs of the last 15 or 20 years, realistically. Like those two will come into most conversations when you're picking a best of team of the last 15 or 20 years, definitely. Particularly like Brendan Maher in 2019, like just what a year he had, realistically. When you like between club and county, absolutely phenomenal. And I said to you, talking about Boris Lee's kind of success, like his star has been heightened even more just on the back of that club campaign. The more than like Brian Wheelerton was unbelievable for Offaly, he was class, but just to do what he did at club level made him even better again, and just made people see him in a different light. And I think Brendan Maher was viewed in an even better light. He was viewed in a good light before the club campaign, but he was viewed in an even better light after. Like that point in the Munster Club final against Ballygunner is like the stuff of legend, really. And then the half a hurl against St Thomas's, like it just shows you what he can do. And then you have Paddy on the other side. Oh, like
no, it's Brendan. Case closed. It's Brendan. I know. Actually, you know what, before you jump on to Paddy, and then like there's so many other lads we're going to talk about as well. It's not just the Tipperary love in here. Wing back, the easiest position on the field. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's funny. 5 and 7 are so much. Like 6 is a disaster of a position at times.
It depends, but like the thing about wing back is you're often if you're marking your man, you're fairly far away from goal. So if you make one mistake, there's a fair chance someone's going to get in their way, and even if a goal comes off it, he might just be handing it over someone's head, so your man doesn't even get the goal. The other thing is you get an awful lot of handy ball at wing back. So let's say the opposition clears it, goes long, it goes over the head of the man you're marking, maybe is broken between two lads playing on the full back line, and then you get a handy little ball. Let's be honest, you get on an awful lot of ball for nothing in wing back.
You do, in fairness, and that's why you put someone who's a really good ball player, good on the ball, comfortable on the ball, and also now, like it's more and more prevalent, like someone who can put the ball over from 100 yards. Because you look at, and even Ronan Maher out in that tip half back line as well, you have Brendan, Pádraig and Ronan who can all score, and in a big game you're expecting Pádraig Maher to score in nearly every game he plays for Tipperary, because he has invariably. And funnily enough, I remember the 2010 All-Ireland quarter-final when Éanna Ryan got a run on Pádraig Maher and put him on the back foot. And you're kind of not just thinking he's slow or anything like that, but you're thinking this isn't the position he wants to be in. And he's managed to minimise the amount of times that has happened throughout his career. I could count on one hand the amount of times that has happened. He's had an unbelievable career, an absolute powerhouse. And the thing about Pádraig Maher is as well, like when push comes to shove and a puck out is thrown down on top of him, like he's an unbelievable knack of coming out with the ball. And like we talked about other players in videos like Brian Lohan coming out with a ball for Clare, or Daithí Burke coming out with a ball for Galway. When Pádraig Maher comes out with that ball, I'm not diminishing Brendan Maher at all, but when Pádraig Maher comes out with that ball, he totally lifts the Tipperary crowd, and it's very, very demoralising for the other side. He has that ability, and also he's an absolute bull. You can't take him on in a physical encounter. You will not come out on top. So we're fairly spoiled for choice in Tip, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, you're fairly spoiled for choice in Limerick as well, and I think everyone would consider them a huge contender if and when the All-Ireland Championship does get going at some point. But Diarmaid Byrnes scored 20 points in the league last year, if I remember correctly. Now 15 of them were frees, but what a weapon to be able to score that much from that far back. Really, really brilliant in the 2017 season. Even going back a couple of years before that, can't remember the exact year, but Limerick played Clare in a qualifier in Thurles, and I think Limerick were poor enough, but he just gave an exhibition of a display. And you know the way when he gets the ball on the front foot from his own 65 or any further forward, and he just leans into the ball and blasts it, and you could imagine it going 200 yards. He just hits it that hard. And yet for a brief while he actually lost his position in the Munster campaign in 2019. Obviously got it back again, but he's a fair asset.
He is a fair asset. Now, the only thing is, him and Dan Morrissey are two completely different types of defender. And I have, not that I have an issue, but I think it's much easier for Diarmaid Byrnes to get the headlines and be picked out an awful lot more, because of his addition to the team going forward and putting balls over the bar and everything like that. But Dan Morrissey is unbelievably solid and can slip in number 6 and do a really good role for you. He's not going to put over balls from 100 yards, that's not part of his game, but he's also rarely going to be put on the back foot. I personally, for me, Dan Morrissey is a better defender than Diarmaid Byrnes, and sometimes Diarmaid Byrnes' game can be masked by his free taking or what he does on the scoreboard. I'd be more intended to look at what they do defensively. To me, I think Diarmaid Byrnes is a very good player, but I think Dan Morrissey is a better defender.
I'm very interested to see Barry Nash's trajectory over the next couple of years. Came on against Kilkenny in the All-Ireland semi-final last year. Looks a real prospect to me, and he could be a guy who pushes his way into this conversation.
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding when he came on against Kilkenny at half-time of last year's All-Ireland semi-final. He was one of them. The drive for a lad that has not been a regular on the team, to drive them forward, it was actually outstanding, yeah. And funny enough, I think he brings the best attributes of Dan Morrissey and Diarmaid Byrnes together. He has the ability to go forward, and he's got great pace, and he's no problem. He was a converted kind of forward, so he kind of takes on the forward aspects as a back, but he's also a very, very good defender. Very good defender as well. So they're kind of spoiled for choice there. They've 3 half-backs going into 2 positions. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, we're talking about Dan Morrissey and Diarmaid Byrnes. One of them could conceivably not play whenever things pick up again, because Barry Nash could be in there. So they're fairly spoiled for choice there.
I think Pádraig Mannion has to be a huge contender here. And at times he plays centre back. I think he can play a nice variety of positions in and around the middle 8. Real leader of that team. As far as I was concerned, he was the 2017 hurler of the year. He was having a great season in 2018 also. Grode McInerney he can play wing back. We could look at him here. We're going to look at him at centre back when that time comes. And then Aidan Hart, very versatile back. Sort of a guy who I always feel gets the most out of himself. And there was a game in 2017, I think it was against Offaly, maybe in Portlaoise. And after the game, all the players were going into the dressing rooms. He had the top off, and he was absolutely ripped and looked so much bigger than, when you look on camera and certain players look big and others don't. But by God, he's in great shape. He's been very consistent. But I think Pádraig Mannion is he's right up there and could easily be the number 1 pick here.
Yeah, just on Aidan Hart, I think Aidan Hart is someone who has really maximised his ability at inter-county level.
And they trust him too because he's played sweeper a few times.
Yeah, no, big time. He was their sweeper in 17. He played sweeper the whole way through that year and was brilliant. Made that role his own, really. He's really good on the ball. He's a good defender, but he's also like their Mr. Fix-It. If there's a problem, he can play cornerback. If there's a problem and they need someone to mark at centre back, he can do that. He can play half-back as well, and he can play midfield too. So he does a great role for Galway. I think Pádraig Mannion, though, is an outstanding defender. He's one of these players who gets the ball and he glides with the ball. He's a brilliant striker, brilliant line ball taker as well. But when he gets the ball, he takes liberty with his steps a lot of the time. But he could take 4 or 5 steps and go into the tackle and then just burst out. But you don't think he should be going where he goes, but he invariably is able to move through tackles and move through lads, and he puts them on the front foot. He's a brilliant striker of the ball as well. I would contradict what you said. I still think Jaime Baron was hurler of the year in 2017, even though you think Pádraig Mannion was hurler of the year. I think Jaime Baron was hurler of the year, and neither of them got it. Joe Canning got it, so I don't know. But he's even in 18, he was their best player in 18. He got nominated, obviously, for hurler of the year in 18. He was outstanding as well. Yeah, and like that's someone who obviously went in full back on Callan in 2015 and bounced back in sensational style when he went out the wing back. He just does so much hurling from wing back. He's a good man to pick up one of the opposition's better forwards as well. Yeah, so Galway are fairly kind of spoiled for choice in that sector too. But Pádraig Mannion definitely comes into the conversation. Definitely comes into the top 3 conversation.
It's funny that we started out with Tipperary, but I don't think there's a wealth of options from Munster. Callum Lyons, I definitely think, and I've obviously waxed lyrical about him before. I think he's going to be a brilliant wing back for Waterford, and maybe he'll play other positions too. I think Kevin Moran has obviously shown enough over the years to be considered. But other than that, I mean, I'm not going to name too many Cork. I'm not going to name too many Clare. Obviously,
No,
we
you're
named
probably,
Limerick too, of course, Limerick. But I mean, outside that, in an overall sense, it's not massively overly well represented in Munster.
well, it's funny, like, and I know that the tendency is to go with the teams that are winning, but to me, the half back line is the most important line of the pitch. Because if you have a strong half back line, look at the Kilkenny team, brilliant half back line. Look at Tipperary last year, brilliant half back line. Look at Limerick in 2018, brilliant half back line. You look at Clare and you're wondering maybe why Clare haven't done anything the last couple of years. You know, Shane O'Morey's been wing back one day, Kyle Malone's been wing back another day, Hal Connor's been wing back one day, centre back the next day. Conor Cleary's been centre back now, he's full back. David McInerney has been corner back, full back. So like
Davy Fitzgerald's up centre forward now.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not really sure. I think you need that solidity in the half back line. If you look at the Offaly team in the 90s, you're thinking of, you know, Brian Wheelit and Hubert Drigney, Kevin Martin. You know the names, and like Clare are probably going to have to get that before they reach that next level. Cork the same. Like Mark Coleman's a brilliant ball player. I'd have some questions about his defensive.
And he might be midfield now.
He could be, yeah. And I'd have some questions about his defensive capabilities. Brilliant on the ball. Not so sure how good he is without the ball. Damian Carlin, who was played full back, has gone out to wing back now. So there's a lot of jiggy pokery. Cork don't know who their centre back is at different stages. The centre back has been changed regularly. So like down to the recent years, you've had Tim O'Mahony, then you've had Mark Ellis. So you're not really sure who you're going to be playing six.
And it's
so
the same with Kilkenny. It's the same with Kilkenny too, because like Pádraig Walsh ordinarily he would have been left wing back for 10 years, but I think Brian Cody's always trying to rejig the formula there, and he's ending up with different lads at wing back. And then Paddy Deegan could be there one day, and he's very good. And then you could have Conor Fogarty, and then you might have Conor Delaney out there for a while, and then Enda Morrissey. Very, very hard to nail it down. So you're going to actually struggle to get a Kilkenny lad right at the very top of this discussion. Even Killian Buckley, brilliant there for a couple of years. We saw him midfield. He's obviously had a lot of injuries too.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I think that there is definitely a direct correlation between the teams that are winning and solidity all over the pitch, but particularly in that crucial kind of half back line sector. I think Paddy Deegan would come into a top 5 or 6 conversation. I think he's been brilliant over the last couple of years, very consistent. Didn't have a great All-Ireland final, albeit now last year, and was one of the chief culprits of hitting aimless ball up the field. But in fairness, I think he's been very, very consistent.
Jeez, it's still going to be hard to get into the top 5 or 6 though. I mean, if you're looking at Brendan Maher, Pádraig Maher, like Pádraig Mannion, even Paddy Foley has been really good for Wexford. Sean Murphy's been good. Chris Crummey, Shane Barrett.
Top 10 we'll say so. But I think there's definitely an elite here. I think there's definitely an elite with Pádraig Maher, Brendan Maher, Pádraig Mannion. I think I'd be fairly confident enough that they'd be our top 3. You mentioned Dublin there. Chris Crummey definitely would have to come into the conversation. He's an absolute powerhouse from wing back. Again, he offers similar kind of things that Pádraig Maher does. Driving forward, brilliant in the air, can get a couple of points, usually off that kind of trusted right hand side, but very, very strong physical kind of force. And that's kind of one of the reasons why Dublin are not blessed with forwards, which I'm sure we'll have a good conversation about when we go into other positions. But when you look across the half back line, Chris Crummey, Sean Moore, Shane Barrett, and then you look at Paddy Smith and Owen O'Donnell, their defenders are as good as is out there. Shane Barrett to me would definitely come into a top 10 conversation as well. I think he's a really, really consistent wing back. Again, a very, very good striker of the ball as well, which is crucial, particularly modern half-backs have to be a very good striker of the ball. They have to be a 70% shot when they get one from 100 yards.
Who are you going to pick?
I think when it comes down to it, like 6 All-Stars has played nearly every minute since he broke on the scene with Tipperary. Was at fullback for a while, had a brilliant year in 2009, maybe struggled a bit in 10. I think he's the linchpin. Pádraig Maher is at wing back. That when he's in that number 7 position, I just think he offers so much to them. Number one, if you have to a puck out down on top of him, you're under pressure. When he, as I said, him on a ball, him clearing a ball or him scoring a point he's one of those iconic players where it's worth more for him to do something than anyone else on the pitch. I just think his physical force, brute force. I just think it's hard to look past him. It's not saying it's hard to look past him because there's a couple of lads very, very close, but I'd be picking Pádraig Maher. Now saying that, he'd be a specialist 7. You could easily slip Brendan or Pádraig in as your 5, and you'd be happy enough. But he's kind of is a specialist kind of 7. That's predominantly where he will be playing. And I'd have Pádraig Maher for the body of work, the consistency, never missing a minute. Even I was chatting to James Barry, and he got on the All-Ireland final for a couple of minutes for Pádraig Maher, and the game was over. They're up by 15 points, and Pádraig was getting back onto that pitch no matter what. James Barry said, I was hoping I'd be on I was on deep in injury time, and hoping I'd stay on. Is Pádraig being Pádraig? He wanted to get back on the pitch. He's like, he missed 20 minutes since he started nearly with Tipperary? He's missed something outrageous like that.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe even less, but yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Yeah, for me.
So I'm going with Pádraig Maher. It's Pádraig Maher for me. I have a feeling the Borisany bias might come out in it.
I kind of banged to rights there, but I think there's kind of a neck between Pádraig Mannion, Pádraig Maher and Brendan Maher. And that's not to say that Diarmuid Burns and Dan Morrissey and Chris Crummy and Callum Lyons, all the guys we've talked about, aren't really brilliant players. But Pádraig Maher, for the reasons you said, I think Pádraig Mannion has been the best leader in that Galway team over the last number of years, and he's been as crucial a factor as anyone to them winning an All-Ireland and going so close again the year after. I think he should have a hurler year gone under his belt, especially because they won. If Waterford had to win, I completely understand Jaime Baron getting it. I'd give it to Brendan Maher on the basis that last year, well, obviously he's been brilliant for years, and 2011 we saw how Tipperary, what a decision to not start him in the All-Ireland final, and how costly that was. And obviously they brought him on in the first half, which kind of Declan Ryan was saying, okay, I got that one wrong. But last year, in all the big games, Brendan was marking the main man for the opposition. Now that meant going fullback against Aaron Gillan when Tipperary got absolutely annihilated in the Munster final, but did as well as anyone could do. Marked Rory O'Connor when Tipperary played Wexford, marked TJ Reid in the All-Ireland final. I think just played sweeper then against Laois, so he's a man for all occasions. And then goes on and did what he did for Borrisley as well, which was basically being the wing back who attacked the roaming wing forward, who liked to take him out the field, and he punished him going the other way. So I think he just showed it in every which way throughout 2019 and in early 2020 what a wing back can actually do. So I think for that reason I'm going to give it to him. Yeah, maybe there's a bit of Borrisley bias in there as well, but that's my decision and I'm sticking to it.
The clincher for me with Pádraig Maher is his ability to slip in seamlessly as a sweeper. Brilliantly. Like, to me, if we're having a sweeper debate, Pádraig Maher comes into your top 3 or 4 sweepers, as well as, to me, the best wing back, and that's the clincher for me.